What's up, guys? Welcome to Keto Rewind. I'm Jess. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you have been a longtime fan, thank you for supporting me and following me and being inspired and all the kind words. So, this video, I thought a lot of people ask, what happened? Like, how did I gain 140 pounds? So I thought it was time. I'm 83 pounds into my journey, so I thought it'd be a good time to kind of maybe tell you my story. In my original video, I think from like week 1, I've touched on some stuff. You know, I've mentioned some things throughout a couple of the videos, and you know, but like the full story of like what happened is what I'm going to make this video about. And this way, I know there's people out there that probably can relate. I want to say, like, I've had a great life. You know, I don't really have any things bad to say, but there's things that I do as somebody who, I'm a Virgo. So that means Virgos tend to keep to themselves. They pretty much keep their head down and like focus, tune out the noise. That's like, I'm a classic Virgo. Like, you know, the textbook definition. We don't like to have any attention drawn to ourselves. We like to just participate and have fun, and you know, so I'm definitely a by nature a Virgo. I'm also introverted. I'm one of those introverted extroverts. So basically what that means is I'm shy when I meet new people, but like I'm shy for only like 5 minutes, and then I come out of my shell and, you know, we can act like we've been friends for 15 years, just like that, you know? Like then I become extroverted. So it's like a wide variety of things that as I have been going through this journey, I have learned about myself. And then another one, I'm a type B personality, which if you're not familiar with, there's type A or type B, and I think there might even be like another one by now, but anyways, I am a classic type B. I don't like schedules. I don't like lists. I don't like super organized, you know, I'm not one of those people that just like so much attention to detail. Like I kind of just go with the flow, wing it, and I've gotten through life that way. So all that being said, let's talk about how I gained 140 pounds. Okay, so on February 11th, 2019, I weighed in at 309 pounds. I had actually weighed 311 over the weekend, but I decided, you know, I was behaving on the weekend, so I was going to start on Monday, and so I didn't officially record like a scale picture and all that stuff. So the day I actually started, I was 309 pounds. The highest weight I'd ever been in my life, and it was a eye-opening experience. I almost cried. Like it was, I hadn't weighed myself in a long time. So when I hopped on and saw 311, you know, like unofficially, I literally couldn't believe it, because I had been like, oh, I'm gaining, you know, couple pounds, but like it had been months since I'd actually stepped on a scale, so I was expecting like 280, maybe. And to see 311, I was like, whoa, you know, because I was avoiding the scale. I was in denial. I didn't care. I wanted, you know, I didn't care. That's probably the best way to say it. So then officially Monday, 309. So that was like my day one pictures. I will post them here. My day one pictures, my week one, my everything. So that weekend when I saw 311 is when I sat down and I made a plan of what I was going to do. It was going to be my last attempt, because I had been, you know, when you go to the family doctors, every year since like I graduated high school, they always harped on my weight. You know, it just kept creeping up and creeping up, and you know, and then it got to the point now where they're like, well, you should consider a bariatric surgery. You know, you need to do something. You know, the whole lectures about everything. My BMI, I was just close to death. So anyways, I had high blood pressure. That was probably the only thing that I had, but that was unrelated to something else we'll talk about later. But I was pretty much getting away with it because I was young, you know, not having any, like I didn't have diabetes, I didn't have, what's the other, cholesterol, I didn't have anything. I was just 309 and with a heart issue. So here I am. I'm one of those people that's super cheap, frugal, whatever you want to say it. I don't buy flashy things. That's me. I'm okay with something that's not name brand, you know. So what I'm trying to say is when my mom had bariatric surgery, she has a lap band. She'd gotten it back in 2008. I was inspired by her story. She always harped on me to get one. I know her intentions were good, but it always made me like, but then the doctors started in on it, and so I knew she had success with it, but I knew bariatric surgery as a whole was not for me. So, and my reasons for that are like really weird, because normally people are like, well, why wouldn't you do it, you know? But my first thing is cost. We have a crappy insurance plan, so we have a high deductible plan, so it would have been, even though it was covered by insurance, it would have cost a ton of cash. 2, it's super risky. Best case scenario, I don't know what the true stats are, but it's very risky, and it's mostly the after surgery part that becomes risky. 3, and the most important part, that was like the number one reason I should say, is you still have to change your life. You can't just expect to get bariatric surgery and the weight falls off and you can go about eating how you are. You still have to change your eating. Like everything about your life changes when you have bariatric surgery. So to keep that weight off, diet is included in that. So as someone who watched my mom struggle with her lap band, and I don't want to go into too much detail there, but she swears by it. I kind of disagree, but I love that it saved her life. I love that she's kept the weight off, I don't know, it's 2011 years now. I love that she feels strongly about it. I completely support her decision because it was right for her. For me, I still had my youth on my side. I'm stubborn and strong-willed, and I was going to give myself one last chance. I believe in second chances, third chances. I believe in that. It's not, the part of the journey is you finally just get it together and do it. So I was going to give myself one Hail Mary, last Hail Mary. So I decided against the bariatric surgery, which is pretty much, you know, everybody in my life was telling me to get it. But something in me said, I can do this. You have to change your diet anyway. So why go through all of that, the risk and the cost, just to still have to change your diet and your life and your lifestyle and all that. So that's why I chose to go the ketogenic and intermittent fasting route instead of bariatric surgery. So here I am, February 11th, 2019, 309 pounds, 5'8". So I'm pretty tall, taller than the average girl. Apple shaped. So, one of the things I've read along the lines is apple shaped people are an adrenal body type, and we don't deal with stress well. So we pack our pounds around our vital organs, and that's how we protect ourselves, because we protect the important stuff where we have smaller limbs, and it's interesting. So if you're not sure what body type you are, check out Dr. Berg. I'll post a link down below. Very eye-opening experience to watch and learn about where our body stores the weight and how that relates to living life. So check that out totally. But then that's another point that I didn't connect at the time. Now I can see it because I don't handle stress. So fast forward, how did I get to 140 pounds overweight. So basically when I graduated high school, it's a normal weight. I was very active. I competed in weightlifting in school, did all the sports. I was so active, I didn't have a weight problem. And then I go off to college, partied a little too hard, lesson learned. Now going from eating on my own, obviously I'm driving, I have my own money, and I'm just like living it up. So the freshman 15 turned into like the freshman 30 for me. And then, I gained another 15. So basically I went from being super active with, great eating habits to very inactive to eating a ton and partying a ton. Alcohol adds up in calories pretty quickly. So basically I just started slowly packing on the pounds and not really getting too worried about it, because by the time I was graduating from college, I was up 30-ish pounds, and in a grand scheme of things, I don't consider 30 like a ton or anything worrisome. I feel that's a manageable amount of weight to lose. So then, like, just before I graduated, stuff in my life just started going crazy. We lost a lot of family members to my grandparents all had passed away, and they happened all like right back to back, and like all kinds of stressful things started. I went from, living with my parents and having them support me to here's the real world, here's a job, here's college, here's all this stuff, so like I didn't manage it well, and I was all over the place and out of control. And because by nature I'm not a list maker, I'm not a planner, I'm not a organizer, I'm not all this stuff, so I had all this freedom now, and that structure was out of my life, that forced structure with living under your parents' roof, going to school and having all that, something else telling you all your life, now to having your own, it's up to you now. So basically I didn't handle that well. So, along that time I met my husband too, and which, mind you, he's never seen me at my goal weight. He's never seen me thin, because I had already started gaining weight when I met him. So, so obviously when you're in love, you're going out to dates, we're eating everything we want. And yeah, so I just slowly kept creeping on the pounds. And it was, at the time, I think this was, but when we got married, I was like 220-ish, I think. Which was, that's about 50 pounds I'd gained since I graduated. And that was about 4 years later. So at this point, now I'm married, I've graduated college, now I've got the real job, stuff's real, and it was so much easier with just my husband and I to just start ordering out and, going out to eat, or, and being that I had my own money, I could go wherever I want and make my own rules, so it's just like this little tiny things turned into all these pounds that started adding on. So, you're married and, that love is blind thing, and you just start eating and, so like that part, my husband loved me, whatever, eating out all the time, which was expensive too. At the time, we didn't really pay attention to that, but that was really expensive to eat out like 6 out of 7 days a week. And then just relying and making all the excuses of you're busy, you're working, and you don't want to cook. And it was easier to grab something on the way home. It was like easier to meet up at a restaurant, and so that just gradually put on the pounds. So here we are. We were married about 5 years before we were like, okay, we want kids here, and nothing was happening. And I have polycystic ovary syndrome, which is an irregular cycle, lot of high testosterone, like all these hormonal factors that work against trying to conceive. So, or it attributes to infertility. So I knew that at this point, I think I was like this is the part that sucks. I got up to 298. And then I was like, darn it, it's my weight. It's why I'm not losing. It's why we can't conceive. We can't, and it's the only way to lose weight and get a cycle again is to go low carb. And at that time, this was a long time ago, I did the Atkins diet. There was no such thing as a keto. I mean, it existed, but it was not mainstream. It was not the way everybody knows what keto is now. Atkins was the thing that came out at that point. So my husband and I, he did it with me. He always supports me. We did Atkins. When I picked up running, I started going to the gym, and then I kind of veered off of Atkins and turned into Whole30, which is another fantastic diet. It helps reset your hormones. So in that year, I dropped 80 pounds. So I got down to 218. And especially with the Whole30, it totally resets your hormones. And I, sure enough, hit 218, bam, pregnant. So by doing exercise, cutting out carbs and sugar at the time I didn't know were the enemy. I had no idea the knowledge that I have now, but it was all like little clues on how my body thrives. And at the time didn't really get it. So around 2013, first kid comes out. And so now I gain, let me say that differently. So I was 218 when I got pregnant. When I delivered, I was up to 295. So I literally stopped the diet and started eating again, and completely threw out everything all that hard work that I did. And I gained like 60, 70 pounds, then there's the water weight and all the extra pregnancy weight. But so after I gave birth, about like the first week checkup, I was like 270. So now I'm at 270. When I was pregnant with her, I had zero symptoms. You wouldn't even know I was pregnant. It was just so easy. It was one of those easy pregnancies that you hear about that, yeah, it really was. The hard part was the delivery. But anyways, so now I'm 270, I've got a newborn, and now I have the excuse, well, I'm breastfeeding, so I'll eat and eat and eat. I don't want to lose my milk and, blah, 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 blah. So I breastfed her for like 6 months, and it was a fight the whole 6 months because my body did not want to participate. My hormonal issues like to fight me. So anyways, after I stopped breastfeeding, about 6 months in, I was like, well, maybe I should lose some weight. Maybe I kind of wanted another one. She was a really easy baby. She slept all the time. It was easy. So now my clock was ticking again. And knowing that it took us basically 6 years for her to come, we were like, well, guess we better start, I don't want it to be another 6 years by number 2 showing up. So I decided, chewed on it for a little while. So by the time she was 11 months old, I was like, you know what? Let's do Whole30 again. So did the Whole30, not expecting anything to happen. 30 days are up. Since I had her, I think I had 1 period because of the polycystic ovary syndrome, and I was breastfeeding. I literally had 1 period that year. So, I was not expecting anything to happen, and I had no idea when my next cycle would be, but after the Whole30 was complete, my period showed up. My period did not show up, and I was like, but I hadn't any idea how long it'd been, and basically I just didn't think anything of it. So we were out for lunch that weekend, and I ran into my OBGYN, the OBGYN that delivered my firstborn. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then it kind of got me like, well, I haven't had a period, and I ran into my OBGYN. Maybe I should take a test. So we're out shopping for our firstborn's birthday, and we were throwing a party and all that stuff. And while we were out, I was like, let me just grab a test. So fast forward, day of the party, I take the test. I'm pregnant. Whoa! Literally 30 days after the Whole30 was done, I am now pregnant. It was I don't know exactly 30, but around 30 days, a little over 30. That's all it took. And now we're like, oh my gosh, that means 2 kids under 2. Oh my goodness, what did we just do? Shocked. So fast forward, pregnancy number 2. When I got pregnant, I was 270 pounds. Baby number 2, I was sick the entire time. It was a horrible pregnancy. the whole 9 yards. So I didn't gain any weight with baby number 2. So the only thing I gained was 20 pounds of pregnancy weight, but literally once I gave birth, within that next week, I was back to 270. Like, I literally didn't gain weight with her because I was puking the whole time. I couldn't. So, but anyways, so now we have 2 kids under 2. So I had an 18-month-old and a newborn, and life just got really hectic for me. So again, what was easier? Eating out. Not caring about me. I was so far in the back burner because I barely had a walking kid and I had another baby, you know. We had no family that lived by us because we moved out of state. So everything was just like mass chaos. So basically, in a nutshell, I was totally put on the back burner. So being that I couldn't eat really anything during the pregnancy and didn't gain any, I started gaining after because I could eat and I felt better again. Felt better, that's an asterisk. Felt better as in, you know, I wasn't puking every day. I didn't feel better. I was still morbidly obese and all of that, tired, exhausted, you know, like there's the whole side of it. So, but anyways, I had gained the weight after she came. So now, fast forward 4 years, I tried to like manage it and get a couple yo-yo diets in between. And then, you know, she's 3 years, I should say, it was 3 years later, when she was around 3.5, I'm like, all right, I've got to do something about this. Because I started going to the cardiologist, and I got tested at that time for something that my dad has. It's an LMNA gene, and that gene causes cardiomyopathy and heart failure. So knowing he had the gene and he has all the stuff, you know, it was still something that didn't scare me off, knowing what my father's been going through with his heart. So that didn't scare me. Being a new mom and the fear of dropping dead, you know, because I'd eaten myself so much, didn't scare me. You think that would have been enough for me to like get it together and to care about myself. Nope, wasn't. So after being diagnosed with the I got the genetic testing and all that stuff, have the heart issue, got all the symptoms, which finally got me thinking, you know, well, maybe I should do something, because although I have this genetic heart problem and weight has no impact on it, being morbidly obese throws fuel on the fire. It speeds the process up. So that was kind of at that turning point where I'm like, okay, I got to do something. So around this time, I went through Christmas. I wasn't going to start a diet on Christmas. You know, it was the year I was still researching, because my cardiologist had mentioned the ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting. You know, give you the book Wheat Belly, by Dr. Jason Fung, or I'm sorry, not Wheat Belly, Obesity Code. And basically all that stuff. So I had researched for like 2 months before I pulled the trigger and started. Because I'm one of those people that, yes, I'm a type B, you know, yes, I'm, you know, all over the place with planning, but I do like to research. I'm a researcher. I like to, because I'm in a Virgo and we like to protect ourselves. And, you know, I wanted to read all up about it and do what I could do and be self-sufficient. That's a whole, like a Virgo trait. So, at that point, I just had my last checkup for the year for my cardiologist, got my weight, and I'm like, I guess Monday's the day. So, Monday, 3:09, day 1. So, what I didn't expect when I first started was the amount of self-growth I was going to have. And basically, to get to 140 pounds overweight, like, in about 15 years, that's a lot of weight. It was a lot. You know, I went from being someone in high school who just was so energetic, physically fit, happy, you know, bubbly, like how I usually think of myself, you know, loved herself, full of self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, all that. And then I throw on 140 pounds and that part of me just starts going away. Like, see you later. And I turned into this completely different person. And I went from, you know, being so full of life to hating life to surviving to just getting through the day, and, you know, all that stuff that comes along with when you're packing on all of that weight. My self-confidence, self-worth, nothing. I had nothing anymore. And I felt like I went from having it all to having nothing. All I had was, you know, I had my kids and my husband, my family, those things. I'm not saying I had nothing, but like I didn't really have me. I was gone. Who? You know, like, who are you? I was nothing like the person that I was. And I am one of those people that's a fighter. I'm a people pleaser. Like all these personality traits that made me me, you know, like going through this journey, I was going to open up a book about like a guide to Jess when I started losing this weight. And this is when the magic happened. So figured I'll separate this to 2 videos because this is a really long video and I don't want to lose y'all. But to sum it up, part 1 will be until day 1 of my journey. And part 2 will be, you know, the second half, what I've learned and all that. So, but to sum up part 1, I basically let myself go after I graduated high school. I went crazy and partied and, you know, lived it up and started gaining weight in college. And then it got even worse once I got married and I stopped caring about me. And then once I became a mom, it really threw me in the back burner of what's important. My priorities were not me. So that thinking was, well, I'm a mom now. I've got to give everybody else me. And when I have time, I'll work on me. Well, now looking back now, that's so wrong because you can't pour from an empty cup. So that's like kind of the motto I've been living on. If I don't take care of me, I can't pour into anybody else's cup. I can't help anybody else if I'm not okay. So basically, that's where I kind of came from and how I gained 140 pounds and how it was so easy to do. It didn't take anything really horrible to cause that. It's just a normal not caring caused me to gain 140 pounds. It's the end of, that's it. I stopped caring. I stopped loving myself. I didn't put my priorities in the right spot. And I will never do that again. That's a lesson that it took me a long time to accept and learn, but that's why I am so successful now, because I just sit and chew on it before I act. And yeah, it's taken me 15 years now to get it together, but I'm going to do it, and I'll send you to part 2. I'll put the link here so you can hear about part 2. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope maybe you can relate to this. I hope what you're taking away from this is you have to care about yourself. You have to love yourself, and you have to include you in your priority list. So so that's all for now, and I'll see you at the next video. Bye.